B2B marketers learn from kind of creators or B2C creators of newsletters from anything that you've learned in your 19 or so conversations?
I love that you mentioned Dr. Fio's newsletter, Content Folks, because what I love about her is she has just one idea every edition. She tries to condense the idea in a sticky note and then elaborate the main idea that she's picked up. So I think what brands should ideally take away from people like Dr. Fio is pick up one idea, see if it sticks, no pun intended. And then if it does, try to do it as many times as possible. So that is number one. I also want to bring up and call out a lot of incredible freelancers who create these newsletters. There's Dave Harland. Very hard to miss him if you are on LinkedIn or Twitter. Dave is an incredible copywriter, and Dave is not for everybody. What Dave does, a lot of people might take offense in, but that's what makes him him, right? So I think brands have got to be okay with the fact that you're not for everybody. And it is okay if you're losing subscribers, as long as you're not offensive, as long as you're not being disrespectful, as long as you're not hurting anybody. But if your personality is not for a specific person, then that's okay. You've still got to keep talking to the people who resonate with you. So that is number two. Be okay with you not being for everybody, right? Be who you are and own up to that, right? So that is number two. Number three is I'm going to call out Dan Nelkin, who is now a published author, a very good friend. He published a book called A Self-Help Guide for Creatives. It's a brilliant book. I recommend that to everybody I talk to. So definitely check that out. So Dan has a newsletter that also goes by the same name. He caters to a different set of audience who are mostly creative directors, copywriters, anybody in the creative field, basically. So Dan, what he does is he's been experimenting with a lot of structures over the last few years with his newsletter. And once he got a structure that worked, he stuck to that. So his audience now knows what to expect. It's not haphazard, it's very clean. You know the structure, you know what to expect. So the expectations are set. So I think it's very important to set the expectations early on. You could take the time to figure out, experiment and figure out what is working, what is not. But once you've done that, make sure you're making it an easy job for your audience to consume what you're creating. So with structure, I think that clarity comes through. That is number three. Again, I'll go back to Jay. How can you become their favorite? So focus on becoming their favorite and not on becoming the best in your industry. Because when you shift that perspective, I think it will be evident in the work you're creating. People can tell you're putting a lot of love and you're not doing it just to hit a marketing to-do list. And last is, I know a lot of people talk about this, have a personality. You do not have to sound boring just because you're a B2B enterprise. And like B2B brands get away with it because they think their audience expects that from a B2B brand. But I don't agree. I think you should be more human. Again, I know it's a very cliche, blanketed advice, but that is the way to go. Like, be who you are, be more human, have more personality. And it's okay to let your personality sometimes override whatever you've got to say. So that is my fifth and final point, I think.
Hopefully you all have your notepads out and writing those down, because those are some golden nuggets.